I spent 47 days traveling through 7 Asian countries: Thailand, Singapore, Vietnam, Indonesia, Philippines, Japan, and Malaysia. And by day 32, standing in a chaotic Kuala Lumpur mamak stall at midnight, watching a Chinese family, a Malay couple, and an Indian construction crew arguing about football over roti canai, I realized something that made me question everything I thought I knew about what makes a nation work. Malaysia shouldn't exist. At least not peacefully. And yet it's thriving in ways that broke every economic model I'd studied. But wait. Before we dive deeper, please subscribe to ensure that you never miss out on any of my essential stuff. Comment, "I subscribe," below, and I will personally welcome you to our community. With that said, let's get started. This isn't about the Petronas Towers. It's about something way more interesting. Let me introduce you to David Chen. He's 34, works in marketing in Singapore, and earns $8,200 a month. Solid upper-middle-class money. But here's the thing. David lives in a 600-square-foot government apartment and eats at hawker centers 5 days a week just to save money for his future. Every weekend, David crosses the causeway into Malaysia. And suddenly, the same paycheck that makes him feel broke in Singapore makes him feel wealthy. His money stretches 3 times further. Better meals, bigger spaces, actual breathing room. According to Numbio's 2024 Cost of Living Index, Singapore ranks as the world's most expensive city. Malaysia. Number 97. They're separated by a 20-minute drive across a causeway. But here's what confused me. If Malaysia is so much cheaper and the quality of life is better, why do 1.5 million Malaysians wake up at 5 a.m. every day to commute into Singapore for work? The answer reveals Malaysia's first hidden advantage, and it's something economists completely missed until recently. Malaysia shouldn't work. I mean that literally. On paper, it reads like a social scientist's nightmare. The population is 60% Malay Muslim, 25% Chinese, mostly Buddhist or Taoist, and 7% Indian, predominantly Hindu and Christian. Each group maintains completely distinct languages, foods, religious practices, cultural traditions. There's no melting pot here. It's more like a stir-fry where every ingredient stays distinct but somehow creates something delicious. Meet Priya Krishnan. She's 28, works in tech marketing in Kuala Lumpur, and she grew up speaking Tamil with her parents at home, Malay at public school, English at university, and learned Mandarin from her Chinese neighbors because, quote, it seemed useful. By the time she was 20, she was fluent in 4 languages and conversational in 2 dialects. Now compare that to the other countries I visited. Vietnam, 86% ethnically homogeneous. Thailand, 95%. Japan is 98% ethnically Japanese. Indonesia actively suppressed Chinese culture for decades and forced assimilation. The ethnic tensions in those countries, past and present, are well documented. But Malaysia's Ethnic Conflict Index, according to Harvard's Ethnic Power Relations dataset from 2023, is 0.23. Indonesia's is 0.67. Sri Lanka, with a similar diversity profile, sits at 0.81. I watched a Chinese Buddhist temple sit directly next to a mosque, which was next to a Hindu shrine, on the same street in Brickfields, Kuala Lumpur. And nobody thought it was unusual. Kids from all 3 communities were playing football together in the alley between them. This wasn't staged. This wasn't a tourist attraction. This was just Tuesday. But this tolerance? It has a dark origin story that most Malaysians still don't talk about openly. May 13, 1969. Race riots erupted in Kuala Lumpur. The official death toll was 196. Unofficial estimates put it over 600. Homes burned. Businesses destroyed. Communities that had coexisted for generations suddenly turned on each other. Ahmad Hassan is 72 now. He was 17 when the riots happened. I watched my Chinese neighbor's shop burning, he told me over Teh Tarik in Petaling Street. Mr. Lim. We'd known each other for 10 years. He used to give me free mooncakes during Mid-Autumn Festival. That was the day everything changed. The Malaysian government could have responded with suppression, with forced assimilation, with ethnic cleansing like we saw in other parts of Southeast Asia during that era. Instead, they did something radical. They institutionalized sharing. The new economic policy created affirmative action for ethnic Malays, guaranteed university spots, business licenses, government contracts. Controversial? Absolutely. Many Chinese and Indian Malaysians felt sidelined. But here's the twist. The policy also protected minority economic rights. Chinese Malaysians still dominate commerce. Indian Malaysians are overrepresented in professional fields. It's not perfect. It's messy. People complain about it constantly. But it prevented the ethnic cleansing that happened in Indonesia, the ongoing tensions in Sri Lanka, the cultural erasure in China's minority regions. And that messy compromise created Malaysia's second unexpected advantage, one that Silicon Valley is now desperately trying to replicate artificially. If you've ever struggled to learn a second language, Malaysia will make you feel incompetent. The average Malaysian is functionally fluent in 3 to 4 languages by age 20. Bahasa Malaysia is mandatory. English is the language of business and higher education. Then there's Mandarin or Tamil depending on your ethnicity. Plus, regional dialects, Hokkien, Cantonese, Hakka. I met Zara Abdullah, 26 years old, working at a tech startup in KL. I watched her take a single 30-second phone call where she started in Malay, switched to English for technical jargon, then dropped into Mandarin to close the deal, all without pausing. Wait, you didn't even think about that, did you? I asked her. She looked confused. Think about what? MIT's Language Acquisition Lab published research in 2024 showing multilingual brains demonstrate 31% better cognitive flexibility and problem-solving ability. But here's the kicker. Japan ranks 87th globally in English proficiency. South Korea ranks 49th. Malaysia, 26th, higher than France, higher than Italy. But here's what shocked me about Malaysia's multilingualism. It wasn't by design. It's an accidental byproduct of what economists call productive friction, when different groups have to interact and find common ground to get anything done. And that friction is making Malaysia rich in ways GDP can't measure. Every development economist in the 2010s warned that Malaysia was heading straight for the middle-income trap, that economic purgatory where countries get too expensive to compete on cheap labor but not innovative enough to compete with advanced economies. The World Bank predicted in 2010 that Malaysia would stagnate, stuck between China's manufacturing dominance and Singapore's innovation economy. Instead, by 2024, Malaysia's GDP per capita rose from $9,800 to $13,400, while simultaneously diversifying away from oil dependency. Oil used to be 30% of GDP. Now it's under 12%. The secret? Companies like Dyson, Intel, Bosch, and Infineon didn't just move factories to Malaysia. They moved R&D centers, engineering hubs, design studios. Sarah Lim is 31. She's an electrical engineer at Dyson's Penang R&D facility. She was headhunted by Dyson Singapore and Dyson Shanghai. Both offered 40% higher salaries. She turned them down. I make $2,200 a month in Penang, she told me. That feels like $6,000 in Singapore when you factor in rent, food, transportation. Plus my parents live 20 minutes away. I can afford a car. I have a social life. In Singapore, I'd be a corporate zombie. McKinsey Global Institute published a study in 2023 that found Malaysia has the highest quality of life to income ratio in Asia, meaning your money buys more actual life satisfaction here than anywhere else in the region. But there's a hidden cost to this model that nobody warned me about when I arrived. Since 2018, Malaysia has had 4 prime ministers in 6 years. Political coalitions collapse faster than TikTok trends. Corruption scandals, party defections, snap elections. Malaysian politics is a reality TV show written by chaos agents. So how the hell is the economy growing during this political circus? Raj Kumar is 45. He owns a mid-size manufacturing plant in Johor that makes automotive components for Toyota and BMW. I asked him how he deals with the political instability. He laughed. Politicians fight in Kuala Lumpur. We keep building in Johor. The civil service keeps functioning. It's like the government is on autopilot. And he's right. The Economist Intelligence Unit's 2024 report gave Malaysia an institutional stability score of 7.2 out of 10, higher than the United States, which scored 6.8. Why? Because career civil servants, not politicians, run the day-to-day operations. The bureaucracy is frustrating, but it's consistent. Permits get processed. Infrastructure projects continue. Tax collection doesn't stop. This accidental resilience, this separation between political theater and institutional function, is Malaysia's hidden moat. But it's also why tourists completely miss what's really happening here. Because the real story isn't in Kuala Lumpur's skyscrapers. It's in a place I almost didn't visit. Day 39. Georgetown, Penang. UNESCO World Heritage Site. I expected tourist traps, overpriced colonial buildings turned into boutique hotels, the usual heritage commodification. Instead, I found a 68-year-old Malaysian Chinese grandmother named Tan Mei Ling running a harmi stall that's been in her family for 60 years. Her stall sits 3 blocks from a Swedish EV battery startup office and 2 blocks from an Intel semiconductor facility. Her grandson, Eric, is 29. He's an AI engineer at Intel, working on 5-nanometer chip design. He makes about 100 times what his grandma makes selling noodles. Every day at lunch, Eric walks 3 blocks from his sterile air-conditioned office to eat at his grandma's stall. Not out of obligation. Because, in his words, where else in the world can I work on cutting-edge semiconductor tech and get authentic harmi made by someone who's been perfecting it for 60 years, within the same square mile? Oxford's Wellbeing Research Centre published findings in 2024 ranking Malaysia 12th globally in family proximity satisfaction, ahead of Japan, South Korea, Singapore, every other developed Asian nation. And that's when it hit me. Malaysia didn't choose between tradition and progress, between family and ambition, between heritage and innovation. It's layering them, stacking them, refusing to let go of one to achieve the other. I'm convinced Malaysia's real superpower isn't oil, isn't manufacturing, isn't even the multilingualism. It's breakfast. Imagine this. Chinese char kway teow cooked by an Indian uncle named Muthu, eaten by a Malay family at 7 a.m., for $1.50, and it's legitimately Michelin quality. Or roti canai, an Indian flatbread, that's now the national breakfast food, sold at mamak stalls run by Malaysian Indians but frequented by everyone, at all hours, as the country's unofficial third space. Food stalls in Malaysia aren't just restaurants. They're social infrastructure. You can't self-segregate when the best nasi lemak is made by Auntie Wong, who's Chinese, and the best roti canai is made by Muthu, who's Indian, and everyone's sitting at shared tables arguing about Manchester United's latest loss. James Wong is 52. He spent 20 years working in London, came back to Malaysia 5 years ago. I missed the mamak culture, he told me. In London, people don't talk to strangers. You keep your head down. Here, you share tables with random people at 2 a.m., eating roti tissue, arguing about football, solving the country's problems. It's chaotic, but it's human. The numbers back this up. Malaysia has 1 food stall per 284 people. Singapore, 1 per 890. Thailand, 1 per 630. These aren't just restaurants. They're where deals get made, where communities mix, where the fabric of Malaysian society gets woven every single day. But this lifestyle, this beautiful chaos, is under threat from something nobody saw coming. As Malaysia gets richer, it risks becoming boring. Kuala Lumpur's new developments look like every other global city. Glass towers, chain restaurants, car-dependent suburbs, gated communities where you never interact with anyone outside your income bracket. Aisha Rahman is 33, an architect fighting to preserve kampung-style mixed-use neighborhoods against developer pressure. Once you lose the productive friction, she explained, once you separate rich from poor, old from young, different ethnicities into different neighborhoods, you become just another middle-income country. The magic dies. And she's right. The magic of Malaysia is the friction. The unexpected encounters. The grandma's food stall next to the semiconductor lab. The mosque next to the temple next to the church. The millionaire and the motorcycle taxi driver eating at the same mamak stall. Cities like Penang are experimenting with heritage-led development, modern economy, traditional urbanism. Keep the narrow streets. Preserve the shophouses. Mandate mixed-use zoning so neighborhoods stay economically diverse. If Malaysia can scale this model, if it can get richer without getting boring, it might solve what no other Asian nation has managed: prosperity without cultural erasure. So why is Malaysia different? After 7 countries, after 47 days, here's what I finally understand. Malaysia isn't the richest country I visited. Singapore beats it easily. It's not the most efficient. Japan wins that hands down. It's not even the fastest growing. Vietnam and the Philippines are growing faster. But Malaysia is the only Asian country that accidentally built a system where you don't have to choose. You don't have to choose between family and career, because housing is affordable enough that you can live near your parents while building your profession. You don't have to choose between tradition and modernity, because your grandma's 60-year-old food stall can thrive next to an AI lab. You don't have to choose between ethnic identity and national unity, because the country's entire structure is built on maintaining both simultaneously, however messily. You don't have to choose between affordable living and economic opportunity, because the cost of living is low enough that a $2,200 salary provides genuine quality of life. In Singapore, I felt efficient but exhausted. In Japan, I felt safe but isolated. In Thailand, I felt relaxed but professionally limited. In Vietnam, I felt the energy of growth but the chaos of infrastructure catching up. Malaysia felt like life at human scale. The UN Human Development Index for 2024 ranks Malaysia 62nd overall, solidly middle of the pack. But in life satisfaction relative to GDP, Malaysia punches at top 20 globally. People are happier here than they statistically should be based on income alone. Here's what I need you to weigh in on, because I genuinely can't answer this alone. Is Malaysia's messy diversity a feature or a bug? Could your country handle 3 official languages, 5 major religions, and hawker centers next to tech startups? Or would it collapse into chaos? Drop your country in the comments and tell me honestly, what would happen if you tried Malaysia's model at home? I'm going to reply to the most interesting answers because I think this conversation matters more than we realize. And if you've actually been to Malaysia, tell me the moment you got it. Was it the food? The language mixing? The organized chaos? The moment you realized this place operates on completely different rules? I'm reading every single comment. Let's figure this out together.